Hi, daughters of May. It's Riasha. Welcome to May We Talk, episode 11. I'm so glad you could join me today. It's grey outside, but it's good in here. And yeah, I'm just really happy to get this episode on the road because I have been speaking, DMing with our guest for today. And already I'm just so intrigued, so very interested in how she has been navigating the topics we're going to talk about today, and that will be emerging adulthood, identity and emerging adulthood, purpose and habits. Now, it's a new year. I don't know about you, but for me, I'm not really into New Year's resolutions as such, but I really am a goal-orientated person. So as a goal-orientated person, I like to set myself targets, not necessarily with time stipulations, but definitely with a purpose of achieving something to then kind of transition to the next goal. So are you like that? Do you have any aspirations, whether it be work, personal life, health, fitness, rituals, habits, or mental health goals that you're trying to achieve? We're going to talk to Money Talks. Now, she is a motivational coach and presenter with a really interesting background and story as to how she became this role. So just to talk a little bit about emerging adulthood, as some of you may or may not be familiar with that term, it's a little bit new as far as psychology goes. So I'll just give you some background and turn down my lovely backing music, which is from Wellbeing, some ladies that I know that are wonderful singers, and the song's called Ujjayi. I think I'm pronouncing it correctly. So thank you for that, Wellbeing. Again, with my wannabe radio hosting skills, which I'm sure Money Talks will talk to us about that as well, as she has a background in that. So when it comes to emerging adulthood, if we look at what psychologists say, it is a new stage that has been more of a modern phenomenon. It's not something that we used to recognize maybe 50 years ago. People had childhood, not even teenage years, just straight into that adolescence and adult. So with that, there were different responsibilities, be it parenthood, marriage, the career that you were going to do probably for the rest of your life, that were expected during that time. Just want to say hi before I get into it to a lot of new joiners: Taylor, Talixia, Insta, Lopez, Scribbles, and of course the wonderful Money Talks, who I'm about to join to the conversation shortly. So as we just come to the close of the intro, as I was saying, with emerging adulthood, it is quite a modern term, meaning that it's like the last kind of 25 years and 50 years or so, and it basically talks about our 20s into our early 30s, and how this new stage in a lot of post-industrial places, so meaning like Europe, Australia, England, different parts of Asia and Africa are seeing it as well as the socio-economical planes change. But it's a period of time where we explore, we seek out who we are through whether it be music, fashion, education, belief systems, friendship groups, love, so many things. And with that, we get a sense of who we are and then maybe our purpose, if you believe in that. So we're going to talk to Money about purpose, especially because I'm really interested in seeing, does she believe that's even a concept? Is it a thing? If it is, how does she recognize purpose? And is it something that she talks to her clients about when she's coaching them? How does she help them achieve that? So without further ado, my own little geeky saying, as you'll come to know, I'm going to invite Money onto the chat. Now, every time I do this, I get nervous, but let's see. Let us see. She has joined us. Let me take a little drink because I've got a little bit of a cough, not COVID. And while she comes to join us, hi, Money.
How
How
are
are
you
you
doing,
doing?
Riasha?
I am good. I'm going to take a little sip of this.
Yes, honey. Can you hear me okay? Because I've got my
I,
AirPods in and I know it's a
oh,
bit funny sometimes.
you know, I need to do that. Come on. Okay. Let's get
Comfortability. We
let's get
love, we love.
comfortable. Let's get
Amazing.
comfortable.
How's your
Let's
week
see.
starting? How are you feeling?
Do you know what's really funny? On a Monday, it feels like a Sunday to me because it's one of my days off.
Hmm.
So everyone else is like, boom, 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 like really getting ready for their Monday, you
Mhm.
know, motivated, very fast energy, fast pace. And I'm like, hi, daughters of May. How you
Love it.
doing?
Taking it
Sorry.
easy.
So yeah, hoping to like offer that balance because I'm sure many people are, you know, at work right now on their work break, tuning into us. So
For
maybe
sure.
this can be something that they can just take a moment out and have some good time listening to our interesting conversation.
Yes.
So I've given a little background on you, but I didn't want to
Mhm.
give away too much because I'd really like to get into it within our conversation.
Of
So can
course.
you give us a brief, because
Mhm.
I'm going to ask you so many questions, Money, a brief intro as to who you are and what you're about, please?
Of course. So, for those of you who have had me on Instagram for a while,
Mm-hmm.
would know me as Money Talks, the radio host and presenter. So, I did radio for about 5, 6 years. I was so hell
Wow.
bent on wanting to be this big presenter and red carpet interviews and, helping people really like push their music. And
Mm-hmm.
one day I remember waking up and just saying, I don't feel like I'm fulfilling what I'm meant to be doing. Like I've hit a peak, but there's something
Mm-hmm.
missing. Um, it took about 2 years for me to transition off of radio, so I didn't jump to making a decision. But
Right.
in that transition is how I ended up into this space from being Money Talks the presenter to Money Talks the motivational coach.
Right.
Um, and it's just been more so a journey of I can't be the only one. That's how we got here. I can't be the only
Right.
one trying to figure out what I should be doing, trying to really align myself. So maybe if I speak out, my inspiration might help me gain inspiration on my own journey. And in doing that, here we are today. And I didn't realize I would have the impact that I have on people. And sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm a little bit wiser beyond my years because people think I'm way older than I am. But it's just more so bringing that kind of normality. Is I'm not necessarily better than anyone or more advanced than anyone. I have a different perspective based on my personal experience. How can that
Right.
impact your experience? It's about sharing perspective. So that's how I've got into this space. Money Talks is just the name that I'm like, come on, baby, like let's attract this money. So that name ain't gonna go anywhere, but that's the space I'm in now. So it's been
Right.
really, really interesting. Very hard transition, but
Mm.
interesting.
I love that you use that word transition. We're going to touch on that a little later as well, Money.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love that you have titled yourself with the thing that you are visualizing as part of your journey. So why not? I might have to
Yes.
talk to you about potential nicknames for myself.
Girl, we
Um,
could get that.
but I want to get straight into it because I want to make sure that everyone that's tuned into us, whether it be from your platform, which I can see a lot of new faces, so I'm really happy to see you all. Thank you. And whether it be on Daughters of May that have tuned in more on the well-being kind of perspective, just to get as much insight as possible from you. So when we're talking about identity and emerging adulthood, let me just minimize our lovely guests there. In the USA and in Europe, the stage of life that well, I'll say we, I'm not really classed as an emergent adult anymore, but it's all right. The stage of adulthood that is classed as emergent adult is 20s to 30, right?
Mhm.
And it's no longer really, as I was saying earlier in the intro, defined by marriage, defined by our lifelong career starting at that point, by
Mhm.
parenthood. Those things still happen, of course,
Of
and a
course.
lot are real for a lot of people and special to a lot of people, of course.
Mhm.
But it's happening to a lesser degree during that time frame.
Mhm.
So what's happening in this new emerging group is they are defining this time by different things in their lives. I just wanted to ask you firstly, with these conventions shifting, can you tell us a little bit more about why you think that's happening in like people's 20s? And can you tell us a little bit more? You touched on it, on the job roles that you've explored that have led
Mhm.
you to this point in your journey.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's definitely important to acknowledge that period of your 20s to 30s has changed. Like
Right.
we are not necessarily expected, especially as women, to do the
Mm,
same things in the same time frame. We've accepted that there's more for us out there than just
mm-hmm.
being a mum and a wife. There
And
is
that doesn't negate those roles. Those roles are wonderful
100%.
roles, but there are other options,
100%.
like you
But
say.
there are other options that buy us time to do that.
Right.
And I think that main option is self-alignment. I think back
Mm,
in the day, there was so much pressure on just being a wife, just being a mother, without finding out who you are to be the best
right.
wife and the best mother. Like, absolutely not knocking anyone who's done it in their 20s, because I'm a firm believer in timing. Like, whenever
Yes.
things come to you, it's for a reason, for your personal journey.
Mm-hmm.
But the women that I look around now, like, I have a friendship group who they're all in their 30s at the minute. Like, I'm the last one who will be turning 30.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a little bit of time
Come
on me
to
still.
us.
I'm slowly, but I've noticed that more self-discovery going on. There's more
Right.
understanding of who am I? What is it that I want? How do I show up and be this
Mm-hmm.
person the best way possible?
Mm-hmm.
And I think in a way we are adapting things that has been taught to men. I hate to say it, but men have been pushed to look into themselves and how they can
Yes.
thrive at the top and be the best, and really just put themselves out there to be that provider and bring that
Mm.
security. We're now learning that for self. We're
A
now
lot of
learning
people are
how to.
agreeing with you, Money.
Oh, thank you guys.
Mm-hmm.
We're now learning how to, as women, kind of say, what actually makes me happy.
Right.
And I remember, I think it was last year when I really like got deep into doing my talks. I put a question out there. I said, how many of you actually know what makes you happy? So if you don't actually know that answer, how are you expecting to find it on your journey? How do you
Mm.
expect someone else to come and show up and give you love and happiness if you don't know what that looks
Mm.
like for you? So I
So on
think,
your journey, you've had to ask yourself those hard questions, I imagine, to go from one role to another.
oh
Because
yeah.
just to throw like a statistic out there, like literally, I was looking this up, and within the last 50 years, the average job change, this is USA, but I'm sure it's applicable here too,
Yeah.
is 7 times between the age of 20 and 29. Now, I'm definitely
Wow.
that statistic, if not
Mm,
more, because I
mm,
work in the acting industry, which is like you get
amazing.
a contract might last like 3 months. And I
Mm,
also work in the social and educational sector when I'm not acting. And because of the kind of I'd say the route that I decided to take with my creative career, it means that some of the other jobs in between don't have that lifelong longevity, right? So I'm
yeah.
changing. I might be going to a different school every week or every year, depending on how long
Mm,
my acting job is in between. So
mm,
that statistic is major for a lot of us here in the UK and as women. Like you say,
mm,
exploring that as modern women is a new phenomenon. So
yeah.
what would be like the top 3 questions that you asked yourself when transitioning, from one to the other?
The first one was, am I happy?
Mm,
And that question is so wide set, especially if you are a creative. So you can relate to this,
right.
probably
Mm,
saying that you come from an acting background. If you know you have a dream for yourself, day-to-day jobs are going to be the hardest question to figure out. Is that going to make
mm,
me happy? Because it's not the acting. So where I was focused on radio, for example, no day-to-day job was really cutting it for me because my vision
mm,
didn't align with my day-to-day job. But my day-to-day
mm,
job was me adulting, getting that money,
mm-hmm.
and just really making sure I was secure. Different people have different risk levels. So
Yes,
measure
it's
your
important to
happiness
say.
against your risk level. Because
Mm,
if you're not happy, you're willing to quit your job and just figure out what works. That is great. Like, I take my
mm,
hat off to you. I'm not built like that though. I'm more like, I'm aware I need something, I need security
right,
that gives me
right.
the freedom to explore.
And I think that's for
So,
me personally why I started this pursuit of
mhm,
psychology, mental health. My
mhm,
interest was already there because I supported children and young people.
yeah,
But in order to get the security and stability I desire,
mhm,
obviously I have to take it more seriously. I do my studies,
mhm,
just finished my HND. So moving in that direction. But like you
mhm,
say, the risk level is really important because people
mhm,
always say to me, Money, well, acting's amazing. It's one of your passions. Why don't you?
yeah,
And I think the second question for me, and tell me if you agree or not, is what does your passion have scope for? What does it encompass? Because for me, as a creative, it's not just one thing.
Mm-hmm.
I desire to make people happy, to make them have a chance for escape, but also exploration. And that can be found in drama, but it can also be found in the psychology of knowing oneself.
Yeah.
So the stories that we watch, and like Morvia said in one of my previous interviews, the stories that we tell ourselves help us to explore what are our interests, what are our passions, who are we. So for me, the study of psychology ties in, believe it or not, into the acting. And again, is the question I had to ask myself: how can I make that work and provide the lower risk so that I'm still happy? Because anyone that works in performing arts knows it's a very high risk industry as far as stability. And a lot of people lack stability often when they're on this self-discovery. Would you agree?
100%. I mean, I'm around a lot of creatives as well. So like I see it with like the musicians, especially. I'm around a lot of musicians, and it is mentally challenging because the industry, the creative industry is so demanding, especially in the arts world. Like you are challenged all the time, and then sometimes you're gonna hold back and say, I could just be doing XYZ and know that I'm getting money and fine. And it's so easy to fall back into what you could just be doing, and that's where the risk comes in again. Like just really understand what works for you based on whatever your passions are. So just to kind of tie it into myself a little bit, I struggled so much last year understanding what I'm actually passionate about, because it got to a point where I was feeling like I'm not feeling something, like something's not that fire, that
awakening
is
not there, that energy
isn't there. So I questioned, like I went back and forth. I go back and forth every day. Like I don't know how many of you who are joining right now are religious or what higher sources you believe in, but I asked God every single morning, even before I joined this live. I said, God, if this is part of my purpose, keep me aligned, help me to say the right things, help me to stay on the track, show me what I should be doing. Because I got to a point where I kind of felt like it's something bigger than me that needs to guide me and realign that energy. The thing that I'm looking for is an internal thing, and I can only kind of turn to God in this instance. I can't ask a friend to light that in me. I only turn to what I know, whether it's meditation, whether it's prayer, both journaling. It takes time within and with yourself to really kind of find that passion. And some days I still kind of look like, am I doing this right? Is this my passion? I question it every day, but I don't stop.
Wonderful. So it's the continuous. So just to surmise, because I'm definitely going to touch on belief system and faith later on. Absolutely love that you brought that up. So you said asking yourself, are you happy? What makes you happy? Where your passion lies, and how the risk level relates to that, and also what scope your passion has. What areas does it cover? And then thirdly, grounding yourself and rooting yourself within something that aligns you, whether that be religion, whether that be faith, whether that be any type of spirituality, meditation, or practices that you have that allow you to get those answers. Just I'm getting shivers. Amazing. I love the way you speak, and you speak so candidly. You can tell that you have a background in radio because you're just so open and comfortable with that. We really appreciate that from you today, honestly.
Thank you.
So you need to be able to take it as much as you give it, you know?
I receive it. I receive it.
Good. And on that note, I want to talk about positivity and optimism. And another question's just come to mind that I'm going to just pocket actually on positivity, because you'll be the perfect person to ask. From my research, I found that, just for anyone that's just joining us, because we've had lots of new people join, so hi to you. Let me just wave.
Hey guys.
So many love hearts. You have brought the love with you, I'm telling you.
Thank you.
Daughters of May platform, you have showed up today. Thank you so much if you're new to our platform, and thank you if you're already existing. So we're going to talk a little bit more about optimism, positivity. According to what I've found in my research, the theory is that as we are younger, I say we have,
girl, you young.
I'll take it. We have less exposure to failure, just based on the fact that we have less experience sometimes. Obviously, this is a massive generalization, but this is just based on some psychological findings that I've found. So
Yeah.
due to the fact that we have less exposure to failure, we are more optimistic because we believe that the outcome will eventually work for our good. Now, that might sound biblical. It is biblical, but it's also theoretically what psychologists believe. So with that less exposure, we have the freedom to maybe pivot, as myself and yourself have done within our industries maybe, and areas and opportunity to look into areas that motivate us, because we don't have that fear at the younger age. So with this said, do you agree that optimism might exist to a greater extent in our emerging adulthood? And what extent is an attitude of optimism present in like the people that you're currently coaching?
I speak of this so often. Okay. Start off by saying being an optimistic person doesn't mean you're not realistic with yourself. It means that you are able to welcome the good and the bad.
Can you repeat that, please? Because I am going to use that as a clip. That is perfect. Say it.
Yes. So being optimistic, it does not mean that you don't have the balance. It means that you're able to welcome the good and the bad. So by that, what I'm basically saying is life is going to happen. Like life is life. We can't prepare ourselves for negative situations that we are not aware of to come. All we can do is learn to train and control the tools we already have. So it's easier said than done. Sometimes life will come at you fast and you're like, what do I do? But there's so much conviction sometimes. I know people say don't look in the past, but sometimes looking at the past and situations you've overcome and recognizing I didn't know what to do then, and where am I now? Good, I'm ready, I'm fine. Sometimes it is positive to say, look at where I've come and understanding your growth, as well as saying, it's okay if bad things happen. I have the tools that I need to get through it.
Brilliant.
There are days that I have bad days. People around me have bad days. And I just say to them, allow yourself to feel. Allow yourself to feel. If you're sad, feel sad. Watch that film. Get whatever comforts you in that moment, and just don't attach it to your characteristic. It is a feeling. It is not what you are.
Please let me interject there. That is everything that I wanted to ask you, and I'd like to elaborate on that. I want to talk about toxic positivity, because there is a massive difference between believing in a potentially positive outcome and pressuring yourself to only think good thoughts, to ignore emotions that are underlying, that are happening, that maybe need to come out so that you can get to that positive outcome. Can you elaborate a little bit more on your thoughts on positivity versus toxic positivity?
Yes, of course, because I've definitely, again, in that transition, I have been through that, where I kind of masked everything with, it's fine, it's all fine.
Me too.
It's great, I'm amazing. And will affirmation my life all the way through. And affirmations are amazing. However, you do have to accept, because sometimes your lessons are in the things that are shifting and triggering your emotions. Sometimes those things that are making you uncomfortable, they're going to continue making you uncomfortable because you need to deal with it. So to just kind of manage the toxic positivity element, it's about just, if you can help it, try not to pretend. I feel like sometimes the toxic positivity can bring you into that space of imposter syndrome, where
which we spoke about in recent episodes.
Yeah, where you're so your platform will know 100%, anyone who's rejoining, that it can take you into a space where you're disengaged with where you're actually meant to be, because you're tricking yourself into believing these emotions aren't real, what I'm feeling isn't real, this isn't what is really my reality. The reality and the world that we live in today, everything comes in balance, yin and yang. Everything has a balance. You will have good days, you will have bad days. It's understanding that it's healthy to allow your bad days to be. So last week I had a day that I literally was like, I don't want to talk to anyone. Just last week, like, I don't want to talk to anyone. I'm not feeling myself. Like, I literally just put myself away from my phone, put on feel good films, and I laid in my bed, and I didn't feel guilty for it. You need to remove the guilt from the emotions as well. Allow yourself to just be in what you're feeling. And
Mm-hmm.
it takes practice. I'm not going to sit here and act like you just get it overnight. It does take practice. I hear myself reciting, it's okay. I
Right.
feel it coming in, and just building that self-awareness. Like, a great book that I read was The Seat of the Soul, which really helped me
Oh my
understand that.
goodness, that's on my reading list.
It's such a good book.
Oprah's actually recommended that.
Yeah.
I follow her on Oprah's Soul Sessions, and The Seat of the Soul. I forget the author. It's not Brené Brown. I cannot
Harry,
remember. Oh yes.
I
He's
can't
got a
say his
very unusual
surname.
surname. He's got a very unusual surname.
Yes.
We'll put
I
it.
just,
We'll put it in the comments. We're like looking
yeah, I
to
just looked
heaven to
up at
help
my
us.
bookshelf, but yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's on
I know
the other side.
exactly who you're talking about, and we'll add it to the comment section below and pin it to the top. Very good idea to read that book.
That book helped me understand that it's okay to understand the difference between your ego talking and screaming at you and your soul saying it's fine, be calm, this will
Mm-hmm.
pass. It's almost like a constant battle with yourself. Like, I don't know how many of you watch Insecure and see that mirror scene with
No
Issa,
spoilers.
like, no, day to day mirror
Okay.
scene, like, she's I don't know who's caught up yet, so I'm definitely not going to
Okay.
spoil that. But Issa's like famous scene is her and her ego almost going back
Yes.
and forth of day to day situations. Not gonna lie, that's like pretty much my real life. Like, I say that to people, but that's me in my head. I'll be dealing with something and I'm like, no, like, girl, bring it back. I will talk in third
So
person,
many people
like,
are agreeing with you.
money, calm down. Like, you're doing too much. Sit down, like, I'll rub my chest and be like, girl, it's good. Like, and as much as people might, because of my personality, people might take it as like, bang, oh, you're so funny. But I'm like, this dead ass helps because it's
Yes.
me stepping into my awareness
Yes.
and
That
stepping out of
self-talk is
my
so
ego.
important. Yes.
So important. And understanding there are multiple sides of you, that like your ego and soul is different. You know, your soul is what is more aligned with your purpose and will push you to do the things that are right, that make you feel good and give you those endorphins. Your ego is going to shout at you and maybe tell you, oh, you're not doing it right. Oh, no one's going to want to see that. Are you sure you should be doing? Your ego needs feeding sometimes, and sometimes it's for the good, a lot of times it's for the bad.
So
So
it's just being aware of that inner critic and
mhm,
recognizing that it will always be there, but it's
yes.
about, like you say, feeding it, speaking back to it and saying, actually, no, I am meant to be here.
Mhm,
I can show up for myself, or listening to the soul equally and feeding it what
mhm,
it needs. So whether you believe in soul or
100%.
not, because that's a belief system within itself, but listening to
Yes,
that
of
voice or
course.
that thing within you, that
Mhm,
desire that actually may be too tired to go and meet up with someone, and you're going just to people please, or you may
mhm,
feel angry today because something triggered you, and letting that
mhm,
go work through you and pass, because it's a valid emotion just as happiness and
mhm.
joy are. It just needs to happen, and then
Yeah,
it's finished. Or the more we suppress some things, sometimes, like you say, they grow, and then we don't allow that next level of progress within our own self-development. So
100%.
what you're saying is just wonderful and speaks to character development so much, especially if we can know these things. I wish I knew these things in my 20s.
Oh,
I'm
I'm
so glad I
shocked.
know them now. So glad I
I'm
know them now.
thankful. I am very
Yeah,
thankful for that.
yeah.
But
I'm going to move us on a little bit because I do want to get to belief systems and purpose in a little while. Um, but firstly, let me just one more question on identity, if you don't
yeah.
mind. It's agreed, like in adolescence, that it's the most formative period of our life. So before our 20s, we've got, the teenage years.
Mhm,
And as far as like cementing our beliefs and our affiliations, they all help create our identity and our outlook, whether
mhm,
it's through experiences in work, love, music. That's a big one for
mhm.
me.
Yes,
I'm sure for you as well.
yes.
Fashion, love, education, and our value
Mhm,
system. These are all embedded within our adolescence. So,
mhm.
what are some of the standout experiences that you had in your adolescence, your teenage years, that have really stayed with you now? I heard you speak of music and I heard you speak of beliefs. So now I'd really
Mhm.
like you to elaborate on some of the beliefs that were really strong in your upbringing,
Oh, yes.
if you don't mind.
No. I am so open. Like,
I see that.
we're here in the now. So me as a teenager, adolescent, very different to how I am now. I
Right.
didn't know how to navigate what I'm now learning to use as a purpose. So we'll go into that in more detail when we speak on
Okay.
purpose. But I was
Mm-hmm.
always very much, I want to stand up for people. I want to help people. I want to make sure people are happy. I want to make sure people's voices who aren't typically heard are heard. Like, but I went about it in the wrong way at the time because I didn't know what to do with all that fire. So it came
A
out
lot of
like
people are
fire,
relating to you in
right?
the comments. Mm-hmm.
A lot of us passionate people, especially if you're a Cancerian, sometimes us water signs, baby. Okay, it's not cool,
It's a
but
thing. It's a
it's
thing.
a
Whether you
thing.
believe in astrology or not,
I mean,
if you are born in July, I challenge you to say that you are opposite to the things that you are describing.
literally, like we don't always know what to do with all of that, and
Mm-hmm.
the biggest thing, like I'm fortunate that I was born into a faith with a spiritual leader in my home. So my grandmother's actually a
Mm.
bishop, but
Wow. That makes a lot of sense.
she isn't your
Okay.
everyday bishop. She's always brought us up like understanding the value of meditation in prayer. She studied
Wow.
other religions. She opened up her mindset to understand how things
Right.
work in conjunction to other areas of religion. So
Right.
she's always said to us from young, leave it to God. If you don't understand, leave it to God. Leave it to God. So there was a time that I stopped leaving it to God and I felt the effects.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And again, this will tie into belief systems, but I felt the effects as an adolescent. I felt the effects about 2 years ago when I started trying to take control and stop leaving it to God.
I can
And
relate.
it was literally like God saved me so many times. I was out here banging like Tupac, hit them up. Like people don't believe it when I say that I was out here
I
in these
don't.
streets. Gold tooth, sovereign, like
Stop.
pull up, what's up, like hurt someone close to me. It was very different to where I'm at now, and
Mm.
it literally took me end of last year to say I wasn't a bad person. I just didn't know
No.
how to use my
Mm.
tools. I didn't know how to
And there's no
use
judgment
my
either.
energy.
Being able to look back at yourself
Mm-hmm.
without judgment and saying, I thank that person because of that person. I am this person. So I think
100%.
that that's an amazing trajectory in your womanhood to be
Mm-hmm.
able to look at her and not say that's not a bad person. It's me,
Yeah, like
and I'm me now
it's it's it's
because of her.
literally that. Like it is
Hmm.
literally that. I think a lot of us get to like we get older, we get different perspective, and we look back and it's
Mm.
like, oh, I wish I didn't do that. But if you start looking at yourself at that age and realize actually I've just matured those things, not necessarily changed, but I've matured those emotions. I've
Right.
matured the things that are already embedded in me. Like we're built a certain way for a
Mm.
certain reason. So
Mm.
I've always been chatty. I've always wanted to make friends and help people. None of that has changed. How I do it is what's changed. That's what's
Mm.
matured. So always being able to kind of tap in and notice when I'm not leaving things to God was one thing that carried with me.
So, and for
Music
those that are
as
not
well.
religious, maybe like overexerting themselves in
Yeah.
things that they cannot actually control, because whether you
Mm-hmm.
have a faith system or not, there
Mm-hmm.
are things that you cannot control. So you have to leave it to
100%.
the powers that be, whether that be a
Whatever
divine
it is.
power
Mm-hmm.
or whether that be just things out of your control. And there's a lot of
Literally.
people that seem to be relating with that down below as well in the comments, because it is so relatable what you were saying, and you were just
Mm-hmm.
about to go on to your relationship with music in your adolescence as
Yeah.
well.
So music has always been a highlight in my life. Like I did music in
Hmm.
school. I don't do music
Same,
now, but I did music in school.
same.
I loved it. People who went to school with me would think that I was like I wanted to go down the route of doing music. That's where
Hmm.
the combo of radio came in. But it's
Hmm.
always spoken to me in a way that like I genuinely could be in a bad mood and I know what songs to make
Right.
me happy. I know what songs help manifest. I know what songs calm me, and that's just now. But now me
Mm.
paying attention, I'll categorize it. But I've always turned to music, whether it's me singing a song to make me feel good. There was a
Hmm.
point that I would just sing Beyonce songs in my bathroom, like
I
make
love
me
it.
feel good if I was having a bad day. But it's
Hmm.
just that freedom of frequency. People underestimate the
Mm.
power of frequency, and that's ultimately what music is with lyrics.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if you listen to a song and it resonates with you in a way, hold on to that song, let that resonate, and remember that song, turn back to that song
Yes.
when you want to be uplifted. Like, I saw a post today on Insta, and a girl said she listens to party rock anytime she's upset. Like, and it's the most genius idea she thought of. And I'm like, 100%, because the frequency of that song is literally, it's an upbeat, feel good song. Like,
Yes.
how could you possibly be crying to it? You know,
Yes,
but
and that's why I have my Daughters of May playlist as well. It gets me kind of chilled out because I'm very nervous about. I'm a brilliant. Say brilliant. I'll take it. I'm a brilliant
you're
performer.
brilliant.
I am. I'm out here. But
Yes.
speaking as myself, I get so nervous. Even if what I'm speaking on is something I am versed in and understand well, I get very, very nervous. So the Daughters of May playlist actually wasn't for you guys. It was for me, and it has become shared with you as a way of self-soothing myself so that I can get into the zone to have these wonderful conversations. Also, if we're going to look at like music therapy, sound therapy is a thing. And if we're to go even further back, ancestrally, indigenous people would have had different rhythms, beats, sounds that they denoted to different emotions or ceremonies that were happening. There's a reason. There is a reason that we connect like this with music. It's so interesting to hear how that's tied into where you are now. We're going to go into purpose. So what I really want to ask you is, what is a motivational coach? It is a very new phenomenon. I think I know. I think I might even want to be one day. But what is it, and why do you think people seem to be crying out for this advice and support in this format now?
So I would say my interpretation of a motivational coach, because I battled with who I am. Like, who am I? Am I a life coach? Am I motivation? Like, where do I sit? I sit in motivation. Like, when I speak with conviction to motivate. That is my intention, to motivate people and to motivate myself. When I'm speaking to everyone else, not only is it helping whoever's tuned in or whoever's views my videos, but it's helping me to challenge myself and overstep the boundaries and my comfort zone that I sit in. So it's like a win-win situation. So I look at a motivational coach as we're helping each other. We're helping each other get to the places we need to be. It's this communication, the feedback, the involvement, and just the oneness of you are not alone. It kind of gives you peace within whatever you're dealing with, to know actually someone else feels like that. It's not just me. They're fine. They seem to be getting through it. It gives a space to just make you realize that what you're dealing with is normal. And just basically sharing tools that have helped me. And again, I mentioned this when I first jumped on, but just bringing back that kind of space where it can open up for more perspective. You know, I've learned things through speaking to people and comments and DMs from videos that I've done. And it has been very humbling as well to just kind of see how people receive you and then the perspective that they put on your words. So that is the space, I would say, of a motivational coach. I feel like people are kind of reaching out for this energy because Instagram is an amazing thing. As I said, with all good comes bad, right? So there is I think there's great things about Instagram, but there's also very damaging things about Instagram. We are so used to getting things instantly in the palm of our hands. People don't want to wait anymore. People don't have time. Like, patience is thin. We can go on YouTube. We could go anywhere, streaming platforms, whatever we want. We don't have to wait anymore. The only areas we have to wait in life is for our manifestations to be delivered.
So real life, we have to operate with a sense of patience and understanding that things take time. However, the things that we now have access to with technology and instant gratification teach us otherwise. So now we've got this whole generation, as well as older people, thinking that they can apply that system to real life. But that's real. This is real life, and it doesn't operate like that. It doesn't operate like that, does it?
Exactly. So it's almost like help to be patient with the life coach and motivational coaching, and help with the direction. Sometimes the conversations I've had with people have all been very different. So I've had people who just want help getting out of like a mindset of just fear. And I can relate to that because I still have my own personal fears and things that I'm trying to overcome. Like, I'm not fear free. I'm trying to be, I'd love to be, but I'm still working at it daily. I'm pushing out of comfort zones. But it's really about slowing down. Not everyone's willing to be slow with themselves. Not everyone's willing to give themselves the time. So I think sometimes tapping into the space of well-being, life coaching, motivational coaching, most of the time we're pushing the word of patience. Be kind to yourself. Allow things to happen. Like, nothing happens before it's time, and get comfortable with that thought. I say this all the time because one place that doesn't highlight great for me has been like my love relationships. And I've been single for like 7 years, and I get all the
high
time.
five, girl.
Literally, it's been a long time, and it's the most uncomfortable question when men ask me, like, why are you single? Like, I don't get it. You're a pretty girl. Like, what must be wrong? And it's like,
it's always a possible critique, and then any of your insecurities, I imagine, would rise when asked that question. It's like a trigger. It's like,
it is, and it has been. But I thank God, my angels, ancestors, whoever is around me that's kind of speaks to me and says, you're single because what you're waiting for is better than what you're asking for.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, I'm gonna get myself emotional. But
that's okay. You're in a safe space. Oh my
it's
goodness.
literally like, I have so many like people and like women around me, guys. It's not just women, it's men that speak to me that are like, I see men struggle in love because there's good men that have had that like reputation for themselves spoiled. So many good people are getting spoilers because all this instant gratification, as you said, and the people that are waiting are being overshadowed, right? And it's just, not to go off topic, I could definitely go everywhere.
Take your time. Everything that you're saying is valid, and I want you to feel safe in that as well. So
it's literally just feeling okay with the timing. Like, I wake up every morning, I say, God, like, if my person's here, let me be able to recognize them. That's all I ask. Even if we're not going to get there now, if we've got time to build, if I need work, allow my heart to stay open enough that I can recognize what's for me. Let it be a man, let it be an opportunity. Because when you've dealt with so much disappointment, it's very hard sometimes to keep your heart open and desiring.
Yes.
Whether you're chasing a career, chasing love, whatever it might be that you're trying to manifest, it's about trying to keep yourself open to receive it. So I don't know if many of you do affirmations and manifestations, but when you manifest or write these affirmations, typically it's said to do it when your frequency is in a certain place. So when you're feeling extra good, excited, because it works stronger for your attraction. When we have these peaks and valleys, it could be your time to receive something, but if you're in a valley, your frequency ain't going to align up to receive that. It's kind of got to add in to be received. So what can you do day to day to keep yourself up and in that frequency of what you've asked for, so when it comes and your time comes, you're able to receive it? So I've taken the focus off of the man and whoever's going to come for me and my career and said, okay, God, prepare me. When I meditate, my meditations are all around preparation for what I'm asking for. I've stopped asking just plainly and actually started asking for the tools to prepare myself so I'm ready. And it keeps me busy and not just feeling like I'm empty and hopelessly waiting. So
I commend you for being so transparent. I can really commend you, because I'm actually working on that. Because for me, I'm a very, very, I think you might relate, you know, when you're very bubbly and social and open as a person, people also assume that they know most things about you. I'm actually extremely private. So, so it's only like recent. It's that for me, I don't follow astrology, but I do really believe in personality traits. So for me, Cancerian through and through. So I'll give you a lot of me, but at the same time, I'm like, So when it comes to relationships, love, and all of those things, I'm very, very private about it. But at the same time, I think there is a importance to what you say about being the openness, at least with yourself, because then you are going to find ways to improve your self-development. So like you say, there's a preparation that takes place. Whether you are religious or not, there is a preparation that needs to take place to have a healthy romantic relationship. Because as we were talking about adolescence earlier, if what you have seen in your environment or what you have experienced as an individual has not been those things, then that's all you've got to reflect back on.
Exactly.
So you must work on yourself so that what you're reflecting comes back to you. And it's a really key thing. And I found that also in work, just like what you were saying, preparing yourself. As I said, I don't normally talk much on myself because I like to ask questions.
Of course,
but as you've been so transparent, I feel implored to do the same, because
you.
you've already motivated me to that place.
With
work, during the pandemic, people are like, my close friends, Rasha, you need to calm down. Why are you going so hard? Not from a place of judgment, just concern. Because I was working out. I was like, no, because I knew that I had a particular job lined up, but it had been postponed due to the pandemic. So for me, I had to get myself into a place physically that should that phone call come, I'm like, I'm ready.
Yes.
So with that same mindset of preparation, I think it's really important to take that into all aspects of our 100%. Lives, just making yourself prepared for whatever it is that you want to come into your life, whether you're going to say in the language of Christianity, come to pass, whether it's whatever you want to visualize or manifest, or if you want to say in a more kind of secular way, goals, whatever goals you have, they cannot come, and if they do, you will not be ready if you have not already worked on yourself. So key what you're saying, and I really appreciate that about you. Like you say, your transparency is everything and very inspirational to me.
Thank you. Well, thank you for sharing, girl. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I like to keep, but I'm
I heard
that.
It's the shell. It's the shell side. It's defense.
Yeah, and I'm very, very close with close friends and family, and then beyond that, I'm just kind of, I wouldn't say surface. I definitely make genuine connections because I don't like small talk, but at the same time, I'm always more interested about learning about others. And I'd like to say it's not from a place of nosiness. It's actually from a place of, I want to understand you. I want to grow and learn what makes you tick and what makes you happy. But that vulnerability is important too. And I just want to continue with purpose a little more. Am I all right to have you for?
Yeah. I'm what? No, I've told my guys. You know, they know I do money talks. So
you busy? It's money talks. It's Daughters of May. It's this. It's giving me life. Yes, great. I'm so happy. While we're on this slide, let me just wave at everybody. I don't even know if I can wave at everyone. Wow, let me try. Money talks. You have bought your tribe today. Do you want to reel off some of those?
Thank you, guys. I am literally. Oh, what is?
Wow. So many people. Total power. Love is all we need. I feel that. Miss Tia Roberts, NYRENC7, Miss Cassell, Carla. I'll get through some KM scribbles. We go back.
Of course.
I'll talk about that. We'll talk about that later. But thank you to all of you, and I'll continue to shout you out because we see you in the comments and in all of the love hearts at the side. But getting back to purpose before we move on to habits, I'd love to ask you. I'm just looking. I don't have cards anymore, guys. I look at my screen. So when you see me looking down, I'm looking at my screen here. If someone was struggling to set goals or see a route to achieving their aspirations, what tools would you give them to create a plan for their lives or for those particular goals?
So something, again, I work based on what works for me. And something that I found so many people have fed back, like this helps so much, is setting
excuse me,
that's okay, babe, setting your goals on a low, medium and high level.
Right.
So what efforts are low? Like what can I do that if I'm feeling low that day, can I work towards my goal? If I'm feeling okay, what can I do? What can I do when I'm feeling high at my absolute best? So setting a variety based on how we feel day to day as humans. So if you are feeling that you don't feel absolutely lost, you could say, okay, maybe I'm going to watch some YouTube videos that motivate and inspire and talk on the thing I'm trying to do that can educate me in a comfortable, low effort environment. You might say you're going to go to a coffee shop, maybe read some books, get yourself out of an environment. The walk to the coffee shop might be enough energy for that day. And then the high energy, you might block out a couple of hours, set a full schedule, do the full work. So setting tasks towards your goals based on the different moods you can have, I would say is 100% important. It allows it to become realistic, and it helps you narrow down what actually works for you. Because sometimes it's not just one thing. It might be those one things that worked that one day or that one week. And now you're in a different mind space and you need different tools. So it gives you that flexibility, but it's allowing you to be realistic. So you don't have to be hard on yourself when you're not in the place to give your everything. When you're in a place,
I get a lot of that. Sorry to cut you there. I'm
no,
so
you're
much
right,
agreement,
babe.
so much agreement here. And someone said, defo not Maz. I think I pronounced that right. It said, oh my God, yes, essential. And I agree. I did this with fitness because I've had a very, I don't even know what, tumultuous health journey over the past 2 years.
Yeah.
And most of it involving COVID, to be honest, during the first wave. And so since then, many, many repercussions. And being someone that likes to remain active, and it's important to my work, whether it's working with children or in acting, it's major for me.
Yeah.
I'm not really a gym person, but I like to implement it into my lifestyle. So like you say, it's realistic. And I had to get really aware of those levels. And so it would be a case of, okay, I can't jog. I physically can't jog today. I'm going to go outside and stand and get fresh air. And then the level up from that would be, okay, I'm going to go on a 2-kilometer walk because I enjoy that park. I can do that on my work break and then come back. And then beyond that would be, I feel great. I'm feeling healthy. I'm feeling fit. I'm going to jog today. It's a nice day. I'm doing that. And it's just allowing yourself that grace to be human and know that you are still successful, whether you've met 1, 2, or 3 of those levels, because you've put yourself out there and still made an effort towards your end goals. And allowing, like we were saying earlier, those emotions not to kind of be the title, the header of that whole day. Okay, I don't feel my best, so I'm not going to let that be the title of my day. I'm going to allow that to be a reality. I don't do my best, and still work towards that goal that I have set in a realistic way. So it's definitely about setting those realistic goals and making sure that they're attainable. There's a thing called SMART goals. I remember from education, when I worked in education, and I'm not going to read off the acronym. I always get it wrong.
Measure.
I'm neurodiverse, so I'm not going to remember. But look at SMART goals for yourselves. So the first one, which say, is having different levels of how to achieve that goal.
100%. The second one is rewarding yourself.
Say it again, please. The sound cut out.
Rewarding yourself for achieving the days you set out. So whatever to-do list you're doing, reward yourself for getting through it. Reward yourself with that TV show or that glass of wine, that G&T, if that's what you like. Or, you know, I love baths, so I will create a whole night for myself. I will do a full-on bath routine, put something nice on for myself, because ladies, you don't always have to put on lingerie for a man. You can do that for you. Feel good, sis. Feel good. You know, but allow yourself to feel good and celebrate however you want to celebrate, but give yourself some like credit. And to be honest, it's my sister that pushes me to do that. She always says like, Mom, look how much you've done, like, you know, and I'm like, you know what, you're right. I'm about to turn up. Okay. Like, you know, feel good. Might have a one-man soca party in my room, whatever it might be. But having that celebration allows you to feel good about what you've achieved, big or small. It helps push the energy behind your bigger goal. So you're feeding in good. It's like almost like a penny jar. Every time you celebrate a reward, like Mario gold coins, you know, each celebration is you filling up that goal. You're filling up. So one day your piggy bank's going to be full. You can look back and say, I filled up myself. I reached my goal. Like, look at me.
So it's basically the self-care, because it's so important to make sure that our tank is full, like you say. And we don't always have to do these major things that we see on Instagram or that are being perpetuated. It can be as simple as a bath. Now, I have friends that have very young children that are like
Mhm.
their bath time is the most precious time ever, because it's not, sometimes it's a shower and I'm out and I'm getting them dressed, or I'm
Yeah.
doing their feed, I'm making their bottle.
Mhm.
So just finding those moments to carve out that you can do those small things for yourself, they're actually
Mm.
enormous. And
Yeah.
it means that, like you say, you have rewarded yourself, giving yourself that gratification, that worthiness, regardless of
Mhm.
whether you've met your goals or not, you're still
Mhm.
worthy, so that you can still lean on that and feel good.
Exactly.
So, so, so important. And I love a bath.
Exactly.
And I say
Oh,
bath because I'm from Nottingham, but yeah, I love a
no, that's like, but do you know
bath.
what? To be honest, my friend, she's definitely from is in London, and she says oven and bath as well. So I'm like,
Really? Sister, yes, my
so I'm like,
people.
okay. So it's okay. I'm used to hearing
she's
it.
she's low key trying to be from the Midlands. I'm here for
Maybe.
it. I want to ask on the flip side of achieving things, because I feel like there is a pressure to be, especially now, and I spoke about this with Ebony in my last episode, this Black excellence that we have stepped into. We've stepped into this new era of, there are more people of color and women as well in higher positions. There are people that have made these amazing leaps into material wealth, into positions in different industries, into having a middle class or wealthy lifestyle, if that's the thing that you pertain to be successful, right? What about when we are not meeting our goals, or when we don't feel like we match up or measure up to this, maybe, I don't know if it's a attainable goal of excellence? How do you manage that?
So again, being completely transparent, like I am not in the place that I thought I would be in right
Mm-hmm.
now. Again, I've done a lot of work to be able to accept my
Mm-hmm.
cards as they're dealt. But the biggest thing for me, and that I have like spoken to other people about, is self-assessment. What are you capable of doing? So
Mm-hmm.
I know, for example, my financial knowledge wasn't large. I took the
Right.
time out and said, I know I want to do these things. I need to educate myself more. So
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
assessed the areas that I felt like I'm not excelling in and doing well in, and
Yes.
how can I do better? I know I'm not going to be a financial expert. It's not my calling. I like numbers in my bank account, but I ain't trying to mess with Excel. Like,
Give
I'm
me an
not.
accountant, honey. As soon as the numbers get big, give me an accountant. I'm not here for it.
Like, I want to know
Just,
enough.
yeah, I want
So
to
when I need
understand,
to,
but yeah,
do up
know your
holding down
calling.
the household, and like I can
Yeah,
step in on that front. But
yeah. The
you know,
financial independence and the responsibility and reliance on self is very important as we get through this
very
emerging adulthood
important.
into
Mhm.
adulthood. But that comes with the experience of actually having these assets in the first place. So having the
Mhm.
home, having the
Mhm.
car, having the responsibility of maybe children or people that are dependent upon you.
Yes.
So that sometimes that knowledge comes with the living part as well.
100%. Oh yeah.
And I think we're
Hundred
really
percent.
lucky that we're in a place that we can reach for tools before we get
Yeah.
there. We've got all these, our parents and our grandparents didn't have parenting magazines and books
Oh,
necessarily,
we've
that they were
got
like,
we've got so much in
we've got
abundance.
so many resources, and it's about not putting that pressure on ourselves to be, like you say, a financial expert, knowing about cryptocurrency or like,
Yeah, yeah. Like I'm looking
it's
at
good.
Bitcoin. Like this is amazing, but I'm just getting Super Mario vibes right now. Like, bro, what? Huh? Like that's how I'm looking at it. But I'm comfortable with what your strengths are. Change your
Mm,
weaknesses into challenges
yes,
and aim to challenge yourself. That's what I would say.
yes.
So I've set myself little goals around things that are challenging and things around my strengths. So I know what I'm good at. I'm going to set myself goals so I can be better at what I'm already good at
Mm,
and become an expert in whichever one of these things I'm good at. But these areas that are challenges are about to be new skills. They're about to be
and yes,
and it's coming out of that
and getting the
area.
support and the
So
guidance on those things, so that you can have the
mhm,
understanding in finance, in property management, in whatever it is that you're interested in.
whatever it might be. And don't be afraid to ask.
Right.
The people
That
around
part.
you assess. When I said the assessment side of stuff, that is in every aspect. I have
Hmm.
understood which friends I can go to ask them questions that they have better skill sets in. The people
Yes.
around you can help build you. The people
Yeah.
are also your resources. So
Hmm.
I was literally speaking to my boy yesterday, and I said to him, like, for example, and this is slightly on but off topic, but men and women in relationships, right? Very often I'm seeing this discussion of submission and allow men to
Hmm.
lead, and I'm not against it. I personally believe you just need to bring security if you want that responsibility.
Right.
However, I believe in leading where your strengths are. So women are always told that mostly we are more emotionally better, like resourced.
Right. Emotionally
Trust
intelligent. Hmm.
trust people to lead in their strengths. It works in your
Hmm.
friendships, it works in your relationships. If you know you've got friends around you that have better strengths, be okay to go and ask them, where should I look? What should I read? What's good?
Right.
Like, use your resources. It's not just on the internet. Stop giving yourself everything to do, because you
Yes.
have to
Yes.
know the right videos to search, the right books to read.
Yeah.
You're giving that to you. Whereas if someone else is doing it, it's okay to say, what is this thing? Can you
Right.
help me? Can you advise me? Obviously, I have been in a situation where I've asked. When I was coming into my radio space, there was people that I knew was in positions that I wanted to be in. I asked them questions.
Hmm.
I got ignored. So when you get rejected from that, you don't necessarily feel bad.
Mm.
What's your alternative? Okay, this person couldn't give me an answer, so what else can I do? Who else can I reach out to? Because
Right.
it's never just one person that is in your palm, like literally your phone. When I
Utilizing your
say your palm,
circle.
make sure
Yeah.
you use your circle. Instagram is your biggest network. Like,
Right.
look at the people you follow. Why are they following you? Why are you following
Yeah.
them? Like,
Hmm.
what can you learn from each other? I can't count the amount of people I've networked with, never met in real life, whether they're from the UK, out of the UK. But I've networked with so many like-minded individuals that have taught me things and
Yes.
introduced me things, all because I was just willing to ask a random question. They put something on their story, and I was willing to ask a question further that I wanted the
And
answer to.
to add to that, just talking about much earlier, we mentioned KM Scribbles. Shout out to you. That is how I met her, and therefore how I met you. So just via having that network, we were both interested in fitness. We were both, without putting her business out there, we were both doing a fitness thing online.
Mm-hmm.
And then she had a conversation with me about yourself, and then
Yes.
I also had a conversation with her about, can you just help a sister with this whole Instagram thing? Because there was a
Mm-hmm.
question that I had relating to engagement, because I'm really not on here for a business
Mm-hmm.
platform as such. It's more of a community social
Yes.
enterprise. So there
Mm-hmm.
are certain elements of the business and strategic things that I'm just not privy to. And she was
Mm-hmm.
able to just give me a couple tips, and I was like, okay, thank
Yes,
you.
she's
And
amazing.
it's just she's a lovely person. We need to all connect in this. I keep saying this to all the guests, but while there's the pandemic, honey, I'm just not about it. But
Mm-hmm.
we need to connect in real life. We need to
Yes.
connect in real life,
Yes, for
because it's
sure.
really important to utilize like-minded, like you said,
Mm-hmm.
people around you to help you with interest, goals, aspirations, but also just to learn from,
Mm-hmm.
learn them as people. And
Yes.
I would say equally people that are not like-minded. Maybe you don't give them the same amount of time in your schedule. I don't know, but I think it's important to have that conflict of interest to learn things outside of yourself, so
For
that you
sure.
can grow and learn as well.
For sure. I definitely agree with you on that element. Like, all my friends are very different, like whether it
Mm,
be a close friend or a more distant friend, but they're all very different. And I learn different things from each individual in my life. So something that I do want to touch on when it comes to friends as well is it's important to love from a distance, whether it's friends or family, when you're on your personal journey. If someone isn't
mm.
actually aiding to you in any type of way, and I'm not saying I'll just start dropping people like flies,
Yeah, we're not
but
saying
if
ghost people, but I understand what you're
yeah,
saying
but if
completely.
there's not a equal exchange of some sort of energy, if it's just you're giving, and being emptied
Money,
out,
come on, come on. I'm having you back on again because okay, spoiler alert. The next season is going to be on. I never do this because, like I said, I'm super cagey. The next season on Daughters of May is going to be about boundaries and relationships, right?
Ooh.
And I feel like you'll be perfect. So I'm just going to put it out there from now. Manifest that
Yes,
you will be
it's
able to talk
happening.
about friendships and boundaries because I
Yes.
think you'll be awesome speaking about that.
Thank
Reciprocity
you.
is needed, whether it be in
100%.
family or friendships, and it doesn't mean to say, in my opinion, that they give exactly what you give, the exact kind for kind. It's just the effort level. It's just the effort level. So my friend said this to me so beautifully once. I think it was regarding time. I'm not always around because the type of job that I do, I can't always be at these functions and really special moments and milestones, and it breaks my heart most of the time, you know. But she said, but the time that you spend with me, Riasha, is absolute quality. There is no, you know, there's nothing else that you need to bring to this, because the time that you are in my life, the moments that we do share with each other are so full. They're so you know, elevating. They're so full of love that it kind of, you don't need to give me the same thing that I give you.
Exactly.
And it really hit home. It's about reciprocity, but I think sometimes we get that twisted and we think that it means we give each other exactly the same thing that the other person gives us.
No, definitely not. I 100% agree with you. It's literally just it's never like for like. I mean, if it is like for like, great, but I never expect myself in others, because my friends aren't me. You know, they're them. So I'm never going to expect you to give me what I'm giving you, but give me your best of whatever it is that you want to give me. Give me your individual gift. That's for me. It's like saying, I bought you a bottle of champagne for your birthday, so you're going to buy me the same bottle of champagne for mine.
Might not be in the same financial position to be buying champagne, honey.
It doesn't work like that.
It might not be that.
Literally, but you exchange whatever gifts. I literally look at it as gift giving. What gift do you have for this friend? Like, where is that most valued? So it's definitely important. But we could save all of that for our next catch up, because I'm invested.
Yes, and you're just a well of knowledge, and like you say, it really is beyond your years. You're fantastic at your motivational speaking, and very transparent, very insightful. We've been speaking for an hour, my dear. So I'm going to wrap up, but I definitely want to just get a couple last questions in there about habits, because I think they're really important, especially with it being January, and you know, some people are on the new year, new me. I never really follow that. I like me. I put that in one of the previous posts, but I am all about, I think what you were speaking about earlier, finding ways that I can develop. Because I have got to that point. I feel that we always grow and change, obviously, but I've established the emerging adult in me, and now I'm working on her. So I don't necessarily want to completely change her into this other person. I just want to evolve. So I think I would like to ask you firstly, what are your main tips for sustaining habits, positive habits that you've probably already put in place? How would you recommend that you sustain them?
So my habits is something personally that I have fought with. It's been very hard to keep up my good habits, and not because, if that makes sense, but because I'm so open to trying to figure out what works. It's always changing.
Right.
So the things that have worked, they've worked because they've made me feel good.
Right.
So I keep note. Like I journal. I have so many notebooks, it's ridiculous. But I have notebooks for particular things. I have got a notebook for routines. So I'm like, I reflect a lot. So when something's worked in my day, what worked best in my day? What in this day, like, what worked for me? What got me through my to-do list? What got me up in the morning? Like, I started noticing having one side of my curtains open in my room helped me wake up in the morning, because I was getting that natural daylight in. It makes such a difference. Oh, because I can sleep. I can sleep, especially as we are still in hibernation. And that's another thing that kind of helps too. I don't take myself too seriously. I'm not too hard on myself. So if I feel tired and I know I wanted to get up at 8 and I need to sleep to like 8:30 and have my half an hour before I start work, I'm going to give myself that extra half an hour sleep if that means I'm going to have better performance in my day. I'm not going to beat
Right.
myself up. There's part of beating
Right.
myself up. Like, I should have been up at 8. I wanted a full hour because I imagined my day like X, Y, Z. No, girl, that half hour sleep is going to do so much more for you and give you so much more in that day, so you
For your
can be
productivity.
right. So you could show up as you
Right.
need.
Right.
Where I started recognizing that, that just meant rather than me sleeping half an hour later, I was going to bed half an hour earlier. Creating routines that again are realistic to you to kind of maintain your habits. So a bedtime routine is what's helped me stick to going to bed on time. So I will turn off my
Right.
TV well before I want to go sleep. My phone's away. I'm doing things that allow me to relax, have a shower, have my bedtime tea. Yogi tea, bedtime tea is amazing. But
Yes.
intentionally settling down, everything I do is with intention. So
Right.
I maintain my habits by backing it up with intention. If I know what the reason is, it's going to make me want to do it more.
Right.
But then again, to contradict it, I'm very realistic with myself. So if it can't be done, as we were saying earlier, don't be too hard on yourself. Have the different options where you can turn to based on how you feel. So it's almost like making a flow chart. You know, your habits, your goals, everything's tying into a bigger picture. Making sure you have variety for whatever it is your end picture looks like will allow you to have the freedom, because ultimately that's what we're doing everything for. We're doing things for some kind of freedom, some kind of happiness. So build routines and habits that allow you the freedom, obviously
To create
the
your own
discipline
freedom.
to create
It's
your
a
own
mindset, but
freedom.
you can only get that mindset once you
Yes,
put those things in place, I would
in place.
imagine.
Exactly. Now, obviously, there's a level of discipline that
Yeah.
comes into this, because you know you can't just be so free and then nothing happens. And I'm very aware of that, but you know, my discipline is that I've given myself half an hour. So when that half an hour
Yeah.
goes, it's like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we're up, we're out of bed. No
Right.
more. We've
Right.
done it. Cool. You're gonna have a nice tea or you're gonna have a nice breakfast. Start the reward process early if it helps you. So if you know you've got out of bed, make yourself a nicer breakfast or a nicer cup of tea. Use a nice cup. Like, aesthetics help. Like, make sure you're feeling good. This is Buju,
I
by the
see
way.
you. I see. Bonjour. Oh my
Buju.
God. I need. Okay, I'm gonna take comments, please, to give me name for my pampers, because I named my plants too. I have Hermione over there and Fern, but I haven't
Nice.
named. I haven't named this, so I'll take
Buju.
suggestions.
All
Hi,
my,
Bonjour.
all my plants are named after men, so I got Curtis and Buju. So I'm
Curtis
like,
and Bonjour.
they're the men in my life, you know, and that's who I look after. That's who I keep wet.
I want male
But
names. I want male names for my aesthetically
yes,
pleasing pampers down below in the comments at the end, please.
yes. Let's
Listen,
get
you
some.
are an absolute joy. I'm going to wrap up
Thank
there just because
you.
I could speak to you all day and you just have
Literally.
so much knowledge to bring. And
Thank
it's wonderful.
you.
I already know because I already watch your videos. But for anyone joining our IG Live that's on Daughters of May normally, or that's on your platform but wants to keep up to date with you, might be wanting support or help and how they can remain motivated. How can we reach you, Money?
So I'm on Instagram at Money Talks. Literally, I am I'm very accessible right now. So just DM me.
Okay.
If there's a particular video that you have watched, you can like send it to me with a DM and with a question, and I'll happily get back to you. If it is more about like personal one-on-one sessions, again, you could DM me and we could speak further and just figure it out. But yeah, just literally DM me, even if it's a quote post, like send me whatever message with intention of what you want me to answer, and I'm happy to give you that time. This is what I'm here for. So yeah, hit me up. I am here.
Thank you so, so much, Money
Thank you
Talks.
for having
Honestly,
me.
it's just been so motivating, so inspiring. And
Thank
you are
you.
exactly, you know, when people say, you know, Instagram and social media is not real. Yes, we know this, but you really are exactly everything that you put out, everything that
Thank
you've been putting
you.
forward in your videos. It
Thank
resonated with
you.
me, and it resonates today. So thank
Thank you
you.
so
Just
much.
before you leave, I want you to smell the roses, as they say, so that you can understand how many people it's impacted today. We had a
Thank
massive
you.
turnout, and so I just want to thank you all. If I don't say your name, I'm really sorry. We've got Oars, we've got December 2nd, we've got Sue, Soulful Healing London, Miss J Low 80, Def Not Maz, I think we spoke about you earlier, and T Davy for joining. Thank you, Miss Leanne. Thank you, KM Scribbles, obviously. Thank you, Yasmin James. Thank you, DJ Arc. Thank you, Empire Radio. You've got your radio people in here. I love it.
Thank you, guys.
Empire
this is so
Radio.
great.
Just Chen, Master Herbert, KM Scribbles again. I'll see you. And Glow LDN.
Oh, Glow London.
So many. Oh, right.
Thank
Glow
you,
London.
guys.
People agreeing here, putting different emojis, talking about boundaries, reciprocity. Yeah, we've just got so many people in the house. Cocoa Spoon, that sounds like chocolate. I need to get involved. Dorian Rose and A Plus Fit, Ash. So thank you
Plus
all.
Fit, yeah. He's great for your fitness as well. So
see, I'm neurodiverse, so I really apologize if I say anyone's names wrong, because there is dyslexia lives here.
That is gone. We got so much to talk about, so I'm being your DMs.
Much. So I will be in yours also. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll put it's a team of I. So as soon as I get around to it today, I will put every single reference that we talked about in the comments and captions section. So give me time for that. Obviously, I'm going to upload this chat. You can watch, subscribe, like on Daughters of May platform, and also on YouTube, where I will also be tagging Money Talks to both posts. So please share with your friends, watch again, and keep it as something to refer back to. Thanks again for joining us, Money.
Thank you so much for having me. Have the best day. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, I will. Bye. Thank you so much. Again, I'm just waving at all of you that have joined us. Some new faces here, some new people to the community. Thank you for those that have followed today, joined us for the first time. Some people, Miss Leanne saying, well done, ladies, KM Scribbles. Thank you again for aligning this for us, making it happen between Daughters of May and Money Talks. Before we get any type of technical difficulties, listen, I'm going to go and save this conversation because it is a real gem. I hope you've enjoyed it. Leave your comments below and take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.